As a therapist, people often ask me, what are my top tips for trauma? Trauma can be terrifying, and being triggered of your trauma is one of the most terrifying feelings. It can literally feel like you're back at the traumatic event. Your entire body literally changes. You feel the emotion inside of you, and even though you're not at that original event, it can certainly feel so. So, here is a three-step process to help you whenever you feel like you have been triggered. The first thing, of course, is to acknowledge that you've been triggered. So if we assume that you have the awareness and you realize you're being triggered, don't run from it. Acknowledge it. Say, you know what? I am being triggered. I am somebody that has trauma, and this is a very uncomfortable situation for me. But don't stop there. The next step is to remind yourself that you're not in the traumatic event anymore. The three-step process, by the way, is called A.R.R. A.R.R. Acknowledge that you've been triggered. Remind yourself not only that you're not there anymore at that original event, but also remind yourself of just how powerful you are. I mean, you've made it this far in life, so you clearly weren't a complete victim. You weren't completely helpless. You probably are a very capable individual, and you probably don't give yourself as much credit as you deserve for just how powerful you are. So the second step is to remind yourself not only that you're not at the original event, but that you're super powerful and that you have the means to get through this event. You've done it before, you will do it again. And the third step in the process is to redirect. Redirect your attention to something that's happening in the moment that's not involved in anything with the trauma. So maybe you're out to a restaurant and you happen to get triggered because you see someone who looks like somebody that maybe traumatized you, or anything could really trigger you. But there are also a lot of other things that aren't triggering to you. And what happens when we get triggered is we become fixated on the trigger and we forget about everything else that's going on around us. So acknowledge that you've been triggered, remind yourself that you're not in that triggering moment anymore, and that you have the tools to get through this, and then redirect your attention to something positive. You can start by giving gratitude that you're in this place, that you're with friends or family or loved ones, or that you're here for a reason. You probably chose to be there. So redirect your attention even to the smallest detail. If you're in a restaurant, maybe it's a dessert or somebody else's plate that looks good, maybe your own food, right? Really become mindful in the moment instead of letting that trigger take you away. I hope this has been helpful, and if you find it helpful, be sure to follow for a lot more mental health tips, and I hope you have a wonderful day.